Welcome back to the Chats and Recaps podcast with your host, Sammy.
And Mimi. We're glad you joined us today. So let's get into it.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're talking about 11 shows that were canceled too soon. I mean, I'm sure that everybody out there has started watching a show. The show comes out. You're super into it. It's got an interesting story. You're like hanging on to every cliffhanger of every episode. You get to the first season finale and you can't wait for the next season to come back. And then you're waiting and it never comes back. And you find out that show was canceled. There's no worse feeling in the world than ending a show when you're excited to see what's going to happen next. And that's exactly what we're talking about today because it's happened to us quite a few times.
True story.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get into our list of 11 shows that were canceled too soon, starting with you. Because you had a lot more than I did. I only had 2, but you had like a whole list.
I had like this whole list of
I know.
shows that I used to watch. Okay, Resurrection was from 2014 to 2015. ABC aired it. Now, the show was about a little boy, Jacob, who was 8 years old and wakes up in a rural Chinese province with no idea how he got there. You see, Jacob drowned 30 years ago, but came back from the dead. When he remembered that he is from Arcadia, Missouri, they contact immigration in the United States, and Agent Martin picks him up from China and brings him back to the United States, where he was united with his parents, who are much, much older than when he remembers. So it was a good show. I like shows that are people coming back from the dead, but not as zombies, even though I'm a zombie lover. But these people actually came back from the dead. And sometimes it makes me wonder, like, if my loved one came back from the dead, how would it be? So the show kind of gives you that. How would it be? But it ended on a cliff note, and it was a good show. It had a good cliffhanger. Yeah, I said cliff note.
Cliff Notes version.
It had a good storyline. I don't know why they ended it. They ended it too soon for me, and I'm upset. So, but ABC does that to me all the time. I get invested in a show, and then boom, canceled. The next one is The Returned. That one in the English version for the United States was from 2015 to 2015. So it was just one season. It aired on A&E. And the show is based off of people coming back from the dead. This show is a remake of the French version, which is one that I started watching in 2012, wishing they would make the English version. And then they finally did. I got so excited, and they canceled after one season. I was pissed. So The Return is set in a small town that is changed forever when a seemingly random collection of locals suddenly reappear. What they do not yet know is that they have been dead for several years. And of course, no one is expecting them back, right? No. Families are reunited, and the lives of those who were left behind are challenged on a physical and emotional level, as both positive and detrimental consequences accompany the undead's arrival. The Return is based on the popular international Emmy-winning French suspense series adapted by Fabrice Gobert and inspired by the feature film Les Revenants. So
I guess that's the French.
That is the French version. Now, the French version, I think, has about 3 or 4 seasons. So if anybody's interested in watching it, you can check it out. You can type in The Return. You're going to get both the American, which only 1 season, and then you're going to get the French, which I think it has like 3 or 4 seasons. I did love the show because, again, it's people coming back from the dead. Only these people never knew they were dead. Like, they were just coming back, going back to their loved ones. And I think The Return is a little more gruesome because they actually like came back dirty. However they died, they came back from it. Like, I know one character, she was on a school bus. They were on a school bus. The school bus derailed, killing all these kids on the bus. And one of them came back, like climbed up the mountain.
Hold on a minute. How does a bus derail? A school bus?
A school
was
bus.
Was it a train school bus
No.
like a school bus?
It derailed off the road.
That's not a derailing.
It derailed. Well, it went off the rail because it was on a mountain.
It fell off the road. That's not derailed.
So
derailed is like when a train comes off of the tracks. That's derailed. That's why I'm like, wait, was it a school bus or?
They also use it when people, when their cars or
it went
bus
off the
or whatever
road.
just shoots off the side of a cliff it had a railing and it just.
I don't think that's derailed. Derailed is a term used for trains.
The school bus lost control on a curve up a mountain and it flew off or rode off of the side of the cliff. It derailed.
That's not what derailed means.
To me, it's derailed.
Yeah, I was like, you said school bus and then you said derailed. So I was like, wait a minute, was it a train or was it a school bus?
It was a school bus. It had a bunch of kids on it. And one of the ones, which was a girl, she found herself like climbing up the mountain. Like if she didn't remember what happened. She just was climbing up the mountain, walked the highway, walked all the way through, went home, went to her room. Now imagine you're sitting in your living room. Or I don't know if the mom was in the living room or in the kitchen, but here's the door open. Closed. She went upstairs. She was wet. She went upstairs to her room. She changed her clothes, took a shower. Her mom's hearing the water running. She goes up to hear the water running. The shower stopped. The girl's wrapped up in her towel. She opens the door and her mom's just standing there looking at her. That's creepy. And she was like, I'm seeing a ghost. I'm seeing a ghost. Like she started freaking out like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a ghost.
I was going to say, that's what I would have thought. I would be like, am I being haunted right now?
So she's standing there. She's like, hey, mom. And no words. She's just looking at her. Goes into her room, gets dressed, goes downstairs, starts making a sandwich because she's like, I am so hungry, like so hungry. So she starts taking everything out the fridge. She's eating. She starts making a sandwich. Her mom is just watching her. And she's like, I must be seeing things. Like, what year is this? I don't know. Because it was like a year later.
Wow.
From the accident. So that was one of the girls. And then, and she had a twin sister who was older. And she's like, why you look older than me? And her sister was like, because nobody at first wanted to tell her she died. But then finally her sister got tired and she's like, you were dead.
Yeah. So what made this show so good?
It had a great storyline. And I mean, in the French version, it doesn't have a cliffhanger. But in our version, it left you on a cliffhanger. So it should have never ended. It should have followed through just like the French version. So the next one is Dead Like Me from 2003 to 2004. It was on Showtime. In the mythology of Dead Like Me, certain people, when they die, are offered the job of Grim Reapers. I would love that job, by the way. They get a rapidly healing physical body, which has a different face when seen by the living, and the chance to stay in the world until they collect a required number of souls. Then the job passes the last dead person on their list. The newest addition to his team is Georgia Lass, who died at 18 after being struck by a flaming space debris. She was pretty unhappy in life, and learning that death doesn't offer relief from living is not sitting very well with her. It was a great show.
That is so random. She was killed by flaming pieces of outer space. What?
She was killed by a flaming
meteor?
Space debris. What? Do you really want to know what she was killed by?
Flaming space debris.
Yeah.
A satellite?
She was killed by a toilet. There was an explosion.
Man, that is really shitty.
There was an explosion.
Pun intended.
And there was an explosion and she was walking by and she got hit by a toilet. And I hope I'm not getting that confused with another show because it's been a long time since I watched this.
And just like imagine you're just living your life and all of a sudden you just die by a flaming toilet.
Yeah. Her life was already dozy-do anyway. She was already like...
Yeah, and then you die of all the ways that you could die. A flaming toilet.
After she got let go by her job.
Wow.
She got hit by a flaming toilet. And then she was known as the girl who died by the flying toilet.
That sucks.
So, yeah. So even sucked after her life.
Right. You're like, of all the things, let's be known as the person who died by toilet.
I love this show. It ended too soon for me. It did end on a clef. I cannot speak today. It did end on a cliffhanger, like every other show. It didn't have a finishing. And I love the show. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a Grim Reaper?
What was so good about it?
Well, the guy, her boss, would hand them, they would be at this breakfast place that everybody in there knew. They just didn't know they were Grim Reapers, of course. They have to keep their identity. I mean, so he gives them, he has this sticky note thing and he puts the people's name on each sticky notes and the address. And then they have to go there and be ready for when this person dies to collect their soul. It's pretty cool. And that's what the show's about.
So good characters or...
It is good characters. It's good characters. It's a good storyline. Their boss was actually the same actor who played on Criminal Minds in the beginning. The first season of Criminal Minds. So it's good actors. It was good writing. I don't know. They ended it too soon for me. I was pissed.
Yeah. Number 4.
Santa Clarita Diet. From 2017 to 2019. It was a Netflix show. Netflix original. It was with Drew Barrymore and Timothy Olyphant. And it was an original series as married realtors. So they were both real estate agents, Sheila and Joe, who are living a quiet life, raising their teenage daughter in Santa Clarita, California, and their world unexpectedly changes from when Sheila goes through a dramatic transformation that sends her down a road of death and destruction, but leaves her looking and feeling better than ever.
Which is that she eats people, right?
She died and came back as a zombie. So, yeah, she had a flesh-eating. But she looked just like you and me. You know, she still did her real estate stuff and she still sold houses, but she was dead. So her husband, what made it good? It was good because it was a wife and husband dual thing. It was funny. They were both funny because the one who plays Drew Barrymore's husband is the one who also played on other shows where he's really funny. I think he played on Raising Hope. So he's a funny guy. Even when he's playing serious movies, he's funny. Anyway, it had a good storyline. He needed to keep her well, and they went out to kill bad people. Like serial killers, people that did like white supremacy. And so they set out to kill really bad people. And sometimes they had to change their mind because then they got to know the person and the person wasn't really a bad person. It was just the way they believed in things. So it was funny. It had a good storyline. And they ended it on a cliffhanger. I thought they were bringing it back. I'm so upset. So upset because they always brought it back during Halloween. So.
Not your typical zombie show.
No, it's not. It's not at all. She's just a regular person.
So it takes the zombie and puts like a twist on it in a more interesting way.
Yeah. And then she thought she was the only one that was affected that way. But they found other people were affected and they had to kill the really bad people that just killed anybody. So they had to get rid of them because they couldn't have them killing good people. So it was a good storyline. Next one, Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist. So it's like
It's a spinoff from the Pretty Little Liars. Yeah. Yes.
And it was from 2019 to 2019, so it was just one season. Set a few years after the events of Pretty Little Liars. 3 college friends struggle with the stress of being overachievers in the picturesque town of Beacon Heights. Meanwhile, Alison De Laurentiis, who was the actual character from the first Pretty Little Liars, right, and Mona Vanderwall was also an original character from the first one, have left Rosewood to travel to Beacon Heights for a fresh start with their careers and families. When a murder happens in Beacon Heights, home to the prestigious Beacon Heights University, where excellence is a requirement, everyone is put on edge. The seemingly perfect town may not be so perfect after all. At first I thought, maybe it's not going to be a good idea because you should never mess with perfection. And Pretty Little Liars was a perfection.
I wouldn't say it was a perfection.
That was my favorite show.
It was a pretty good show.
It was a good show. It was a damn good show. So I thought, I think it would have survived if they wouldn't have picked Allison and Mona to be the characters to move over to this storyline. It's something about Allison's character and the person who plays her, and it's not very well played. I didn't like her when she played on the original one, and I didn't like her too much on Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist, but it was still a good storyline and it was getting good. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It started out where you're thinking, let me just give it a chance. But then towards the ending, it got so good. You were just waiting for it to come back, and now it's not coming back.
Yeah. This one, I started watching like the first couple episodes, but I couldn't get into it. I didn't really like it.
The first couple of episodes, I give you that.
I feel like it was trying too hard to compare it to the storyline of Pretty Little Liars, the original. And I was like, nah.
But then it got better. It did get better.
Not for me.
It really did get better.
This is the only one I will have to disagree. I don't think it should have had a second season because the first season wasn't good.
For me, I would have liked to see the second season because it left me on a cliffhanger, and I just hate anything that ends on a cliffhanger, especially after I gave my whole season in.
What's worse, a show that ends on a cliffhanger or a show that really didn't have a second season in it, but left you on a cliffhanger, came back for a second season, and then the result was disappointing?
I'd rather be disappointed than just, it's the not knowing that drives you crazy. Yeah. That's the part that gets you when it ends on that cliffhanger, especially when you're giving the show a chance. And it's like, yeah, finally, it's starting to get good. Like, it finally started to go somewhere. And then you're like, well, sorry. You gave it a chance, but we're not going to end it for you. I'd rather it end stupid, but give me an ending than I'd rather turn around and say, oh my God, they wasted my time. This show was so stupid. It ended stupid. I hate it, but at least it had an ending. So, number 6, Bless this mess, sorry. In the series premiere, newlyweds Rio and Mike decide to leave New York and move to rural Nebraska to become farmers, only to realize that the farming life is more difficult than they thought. Now, what I liked about this show is they took 2 people from New York, okay? She's a therapist, and he was, I don't know if he was like a reporter or something. Anyway, they quit their jobs in New York that paid very well. And they moved to Nebraska because he inherited this farm from his aunt who passed away. The show is good. It was funny. I'm telling you, I laughed at the show. It's hard for me to laugh at a lot of comedy shows, but their comedy was kooky and it was funny, and it was, for me, refreshing. And they ended on the worst cliffhanger. Because Rio found out she was pregnant. First, it was like all this chaos because they mixed up the test, the pregnancy test. Like 3 of the characters, they take this pregnancy test because they're saying somebody's pregnant, but they didn't know who it was. And then they mixed the pregnancy test, so they didn't know. 2 of them came out pregnant, 1 didn't. So she found out she was really pregnant, the main character. But the other character, her co-character, and the other one who took the test, now we'll never know who was the other person that was pregnant. It's upsetting.
Yeah,
upset.
and you don't get to see her have a kid.
No, don't get to see her have a kid after they struggle so hard and they're finally becoming farmers. Don't see her having her kid.
Aww.
Never gonna see how they were being parents with their kooky self. And then there was this goat running around the farm constantly screaming, ah! You know how they scream?
Oh, yes. Hello,
oh my
screaming
gosh,
goat.
it was so funny. It's a funny show. It's such a funny show. Anyway.
Living on a farm.
Yeah, it shows them living on a farm, how they, they couldn't grow anything because the soil was so dried out from never having anything in there for a long time. So they started raising chickens. So then they became like this chicken farm. Anyway, it was a good show. I don't know. It ended too soon for me. So I'm upset. Because you need a comedy show to break away from reality shows and drama shows. You need comedy. They're taking away all our comedy. Next one, single parents.
Number 7.
That is after his wife, Mia, who was Vanessa Bayer, left him to pursue her career as a lawyer, Will Cooper has to raise their daughter, Sophie, who is like the smartest kid ever, alone. Between princesses, young girl problems, and PTA meetings, he doesn't have much time for himself. At the beginning of season 1, Will's friends decide to take matters into their own hands and convince him that he doesn't have to sacrifice his happiness to be a good dad. As a group, they take turns looking after all their children. So they all get to have a little bit of freedom, and Will can finally get back into dating. It's a good show because it shows single parents that are like co-parenting all their kids together. And there's not a lot of shows like that show real life. It shows that they have this support group. They treat each other like family. Their kids are growing up together. It's like this big old group of co-parenters. And that's how it should be in real society. It should be that way so that each of them can give their support to each other. Because it's hard.
It takes a village to raise a kid.
Yeah, it's hard being a single parent. And sometimes you need to like step away from being a parent and have some time to yourself. And that's what they did. They gave each other time to themselves. Anyway, a couple of characters fell in love, and it left on the worst cliffhanger because Will, who's the main character, and the other girl were supposed to, they realized that they had these feelings for each other. And now I'm never going to know how this is going to play out. Sucks. Bring it back. Another ABC show. It premiered in 2018 and this year. It ended in 2020, so they're not renewing it.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Number 8.
Emergence. In the series premiere, Police Chief Jo Evans plunges her family into a mystery when she discovers a young girl the night of an inexplicable plane crash in her quiet northeastern town and decides to protect her. Benny Gallagher, an investigative reporter, intrudes into Joe's inquiry and his own take on shadowy evidence. This is also another ABC show that canceled out on me on a cliffhanger. The show aired in 2019. They had a couple of shows this year, and it was supposed to come back, and it just I'm so upset. It was a good show. It was a really good show. She was an artificial intelligent little girl who didn't know she was artificial intelligent, and a very smart little girl. And they didn't know she was artificial intelligence until they were looking for her. So she escaped because she started to have feelings and wanted a real family, but very dangerous. Anyway, ended on a cliffhanger, and anyone who's seen Emergence and liked it knows how I feel.
Number 9.
Siren.
This is the one with the mermaid woman.
Yes, it is. I love mermaids. The coastal town of Bristol Cove, once known for being home to mermaids, is turned upside down with the arrival of a mysterious girl. Her name is Wren. So this one ended, it had, I think, like 2 seasons. It started in 2018, and then this year it finished off. It didn't, I'm sad to see it go because I would have liked for it to come back because I like the storyline, but it didn't really end on a cliffhanger because it ended where the main character who was in love with her disappeared, but he was injecting himself with mermaid cells, so he was kind of turning into a mermaid. I guess the cliffhanger would be, did he turn into a mermaid? Did he die? Like, what the heck is going on with him? Is he coming back? But we're never going to know because the show was canceled.
That's kind of a cliffhanger.
That was a Freeform. It was on Freeform. So that's it for me.
Yeah, so the last 2 shows, well, you watched both of these shows with me, so this is for both of us. Number 10, True Calling. So True Calling's first episode aired October 2003. The final episode apparently aired in 2008 after 2 seasons. This is the part that got me, the fact that it said 2 seasons, because I've only seen the first season of this show, and then it ended on, for me, a cliffhanger. Like, there was a lot more to the story that was going to develop. Yeah. So True Calling is about a young girl named True Davis who works in the city morgue. The premise of the show is that the bodies of the dead will appear to reanimate to her and say, "Help me," after which she goes back in time, restarts the day so that she can help save that person from dying. There was a second season that comprised of only 6 episodes, and the show was canceled. It does not appear the second season aired in the US, at least from everything I researched. And everything aired last in the US because it had the lowest ratings apparently here in our country. Now, what's interesting is that Russia did adapt this series and when it's translated from Russian into English, it is I Revoke the Death, which premiered on October of 2012. So I wonder I wonder if it's still going or if they actually completed the show and wrapped it up in a bow and gave it an ending.
I would look at it.
Yeah, so at least Russia knows a good storyline when they see it. Mm-hmm. And why should this show come back? Is a totally unique storyline that keeps the show interesting, which was heading into an even better storyline when it was canceled. The first season ended with Jack, who seemed to be doing the opposite of what True was doing. So when she was having those people come back to her and say, "Save me," he was trying to stop her and just let them pretty much die.
Because he was like Grim Reaper.
Right. So there was this like interesting dynamic and storyline. I feel like that was going to happen from there because I believe Jack was also like an interest of hers. Like she was romantically interested in him. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting. So apparently there is a season 2 out there. I haven't seen those 6 episodes that were released, but I'm sure that they can be found somewhere. So I'm going to have to go seek out where I can watch these 6 episodes and watch it. Although from my understanding, even those 6 episodes still don't like tie a bow onto the story or really give it an ending, which is so unfortunate.
But at least we could watch some of,
at least
a little bit more.
At least I have this thing like, oh, there's some things to the show that I haven't seen yet. Yeah. So I can at least figure out, because from what I remember, it ended with her, the last episode where she was trying to save her brother. And then Jack it was like at the very end of the episode, she found out that he had the same ability she did, but he was doing the opposite. Yep. And then it was like, so it was like, we had to find out what's going to happen after that.
Yep. They were like at war.
Yeah. They were like against each other. It's almost like Ghost Whisperer, how Melinda... and that brother, other guy, remember? Was it her brother?
Yeah, he's supposed to be her brother.
And he was doing the opposite of what she was doing. So she was leading ghosts to the light.
She was trying to help them go home, and
he was trying to keep them tied here, like to go to hell or something. And she was trying to save them to go to the light. So he was like, she was the light and he was the dark. Which even Ghost Whisperer, technically, it's not on this list. And I know it had like 5 seasons, but I still feel like there was more that was meant to happen in the show. And it ended prematurely, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So Number 11 is Flash Forward. So this series revolves around the lives of several people as a mysterious event causes nearly everyone on the planet to simultaneously lose consciousness for 2 minutes and 17 seconds on October 6, 2009. It's very specific.
Mm-hmm.
During this blackout, people see what appeared to be visions of their lives on April 29, 2010, a global flash forward 6 months into the future. The season finale for season 1 was shot before it was known the show would be canceled and showed another flash forward event happening more than 20 years in the future. So why should it come back? It was left at such a cliffhanger, like such a huge cliffhanger. There was a second blackout and so much was being found out about what was truly causing it and what organization was behind it all. So they were literally in the process of trying to track down these people who they believed were causing the blackout to happen and were like manipulating things. So they were finding out that maybe even some of the visions people had were actually like manipulated, that they might not even be true. And remember, they had like this whole society of people who didn't see anything in their blackouts. And like, what does it mean? Does it mean I was dead? Does it mean I was sleeping? And it was just like such an interesting thing. And I feel like what this show did so well is they were able to tell multiple storylines of all these different people, but also keep them connected in a way.
Yes.
And it reminds me of shows like Lost, where Lost was so good at, you know, deep diving into these storylines and really making you understand and feel for every single character. And it keeps you invested in the whole journey, but they also intermingle it in such an interest. It's just good story writing, just good storytelling.
It is.
So this was like, I feel like almost a Lost-esque type show, but Lost was a little bit more supernatural, whereas this is more like sci-fi, advanced technology type thing. Now, what is interesting is that apparently Flash Forward is actually based off of a book. So there is a book where that is called Flash Forward, one word, which is where the show was originated from. And apparently in the book, I read a synopsis of the book, and the book says that essentially there was some organization or scientific organization that was working on something. And
they had these special rings.
Yeah, and what they did was accidentally caused this global blackout as a result of their experiment. So the book also like tells stories. I don't know if it's like the same people in the show or if it's different people and they just took the concept and did it in the show. Because I think in the book, there's the one blackout of everybody seeing 20 years into the future, which is what was going to happen in the second season that we never got. Whereas in the show, they had the first blackout that was 6 months, then they had a second blackout that was going to show them 20 years into the future.
Yes.
So that's where it was going into. And then they were kind of hinting at like this organization of people that were involved, like the ones who got up when everybody else was asleep. And they were like, what? So not everybody blacked out. Some people didn't.
The ones that were wearing these special rings.
Right. I don't know if that's the same in the book, but now that I know there's a book, I'm going to read it because
we got to read it.
It was such a good show. So if you...
I want to see the ending.
Yeah. So if
at least
you
the book will give us that.
Exactly. So if you watched Flash Forward the show and you really love the show and the storyline and everything, definitely I would recommend that you read this book. It's called Flash Forward, one word. It is available on Kindle. It's not on Kindle Unlimited, so you do have to pay for it. But yeah, so if you like that show, I would check out the book because I'm going to. And then we'll see if the maybe the book might be better than the show.
Maybe the book is always
the book
better.
At least will have an ending.
More information.
Yeah, and at least it'll have an ending. And I'm so confused why this show was removed from the air after only one season, because this show was nominated for multiple awards. Actually won 2 awards, one for best stunt and one for best storytelling in a show. So why on earth was it removed from the air? I have no idea. It was removed to be replaced with some other show. And it said it was pulling in about 8-point-something million viewers per episode, which to me is a pretty large audience, but I guess it wasn't good enough for whatever channel was airing it. Was it like NBC or something like that? I think it was like an NBC show. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if it was NBC or ABC. It was one of them. I think it was ABC. They're famous for that.
Oh my gosh. ABC and NBC. Both.
If you look at a history of their canceled show, they're all canceled before the second season comes in.
But here's the thing that I don't understand.
I don't know what their ratings are. Like, what are they looking at in ratings?
Flash Forward ranked number 44 of shows at the time when it was airing. It ranked 44 on the list, which I mean, at least it's in the top 50. 8-point-something million viewers is not that low to me.
It's not.
So I don't understand. And then it was nominated for so many awards. Like it was being nominated at least. That means it was good enough to be considered for awards, but it's not good enough to bring back a second season.
I don't know.
That's why when we started getting into Manifest, which is a show we're watching now, Manifest.
I get scared to.
I know.
I get so scared because Manifest is, I think, ABC as well.
Manifest is NBC.
NBC. And I get so scared that I get invested and then it's gone.
Manifest is such a good show. Here's the thing. It's like they do so many good shows. I feel like more so NBC airs shows that are so different. You know, they're like unique storylines. They're completely different from what you're used to seeing on TV. And it makes them so interesting. And then there's a lot of good storytelling and a lot of good writers who are writing these shows. And for some reason, those shows get canceled. And then these other shows that are stupid, that are pretty much like everything else you see on TV, are sticking around.
I know. Yeah, I don't know what they look for really in ratings.
Me neither.
So those were our top shows that we really cared about because we watched them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go down a list of other canceled shows that we haven't watched, but maybe somebody out there has.
Oh, yeah. Warning. These are the shows that have been canceled for the year 2020.
Yes.
So hopefully none of these are a shock to you. And
and if they
hopefully
are,
don't get too disappointed.
We all know how we feel.
I know. We know how it feels.
Okay, so the first one is AJ and Queen. They only had one season. It was on Netflix and is canceled. Almost Family. That was another show that I liked. It got canceled. It was on Fox. Annie with an E, Netflix. Canceled.
I wanted to watch that show. I haven't watched it, but it looked interesting on the previews and stuff that I saw, so I wanted to check it out.
I thought of watching it, but I don't know now if I want to watch it because it's canceled. It only has 3 seasons.
Well, 3 seasons, not that bad.
It depends on how it ended. Let's see. The next one is Bluff City Law. 1 season, NBC, canceled.
Yeah, see, NBC, 1 season.
Yeah. Broke, CBS, 1 season, canceled. Carol's Second Act, 1 season, CBS, canceled.
Well, you don't have to say canceled. We know that everything you're reading is canceled.
Yeah. I don't know. I got hooked to the canceled. Cops, they ran 32 seasons. 32 seasons.
Yeah, I don't know how it ran that long.
Canceled. Well, it's a reality show.
I was like, really? People still watch that?
Yeah,
Why?
It's a reality show. Council of Dads, 1 season, NBC, canceled. Oh. I know I don't have to say canceled.
NBC is infamous for the 1 season bullcrap.
So is ABC.
They don't even give it a 2nd season.
Yep. ABC, kind of the same. Dare Me, 1 season, USA, canceled. Dave, 2 seasons, FXX. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not canceled. Nope. That one is actually renewed. Sorry. Was looking at the wrong one. Dear White People, 4 seasons, Netflix, canceled. Now, I heard a lot of people roaring about Deputy. Deputy only did 1 season. It was aired on Fox. They did cancel it, so it's not coming back. A lot of people were very upset. Yes.
Deputy.
I saw a lot of people comments. Yeah. I actually saw 1 episode, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, any fans out there of Deputy, but I don't know if maybe it got better, but that 1 episode, the pilot, it didn't grab me. Drunk History, 6 seasons, not coming back. Sorry. I couldn't get into it.
6 seasons. That's a long show, though.
It was on Comedy Central. I couldn't get into that show. To me, it was kind of dumb. I don't know. Empire, 6 seasons. I don't know if the 6th season was the final season that I saw. It's canceled. It was supposed to be canceled after the final season.
And for some reason, they chose to do another one?
No, they just canceled it.
Oh.
It has no final season. I'm upset. I gave 6 years of my life to that show. So, Florida Girls, 1 season, Pop TV, canceled.
What the hell could a show called Florida Girls be about?
I have no idea. I didn't even know.
Like, what's so interesting about, like, what are they in the theme parks all day on the beach? I don't know. Dying in the heat.
The next one, I have no idea.
Sitting on alligators for fun. Like, What is that?
I don't know. Florida Girls.
Okay,
maybe
this
it's a
is
reality
so
show
off.
or something.
This doesn't have anything to do with the shows, but you said Florida Girls, and it just made me think of like stupid things that people do in Florida or whatever. Not going to the beach and stuff like that is stupid, but you know how they have like Gatorland and stuff like that, and they like tie up the gator's mouth, and then people just be sitting on them, acting like they wrestled them. Yeah. Am I the only person who thinks that's?
It's just for pictures.
It doesn't matter, but you're still like manipulating.
It's cruel to the animal.
That's the word I was looking for. Am I the only person who thinks that's cruel? Like, I don't think it's cool to tie up a gator's mouth and then sit on it and act like you're wrestling it.
I don't either.
Like, what is that about?
I don't know. I think it's cruel too.
I was like, just leave the gator alone. My gosh.
I feel like they need to leave animals in the wild. That's how I feel.
Like, just leave them be.
They should only have rescue camps for animals, and that's it. And
right? They want to be tying up their mouth, doing this and that to them, and then when they attack you and kill you, they want to wonder, oh, crazy animals.
Mm-hmm. They're not crazy animals.
Who's the animal?
I don't know. It's just something
that was so random. But you said Florida Girls, and made me think of, oh, what are the things that people do in Florida? Go to the beach, go to the amusement park, die in the heat, sit on gators, like.
It's random, but now you just made me open up like this whole big feeling about, you know, how human beings think they're so superior and they think they have the rights to pull these animals out of the wild. It's like if someone was more superior to us and pulled us out of the wild, like, how would you feel leaving your habitat and everything just for show? I don't know. That's my opinion.
No, they pull them out so they can wrap up their mouths and sit
make
on
money
them
off of them and
poke and prod them for people's attention and amusement.
And then the guidelines of not being considered animal cruelty is that they're being fed and their habitat is, you know, a clean habitat. I don't care. They shouldn't be any standards because they shouldn't be out of the wild. Plain and simple. Next one. God Friended Me. 2 seasons, CBS, canceled.
God Friended Me?
God Friended Me. Canceled.
Like on Facebook?
No, it was on CBS.
Oh, really? No, I'm saying they said God friended them. Like what, on Facebook? They got a friend request from God on Facebook or what?
I think that's what it was.
That sounds kind of dumb, no offense.
Well, you don't hardly see a lot of religious shows out there anymore. Like Highway to Heaven or, you know.
I'm like, what religious shows? Like Seventh Heaven?
Seventh Heaven, Highway to Heaven. They don't bring shows like that anymore.
I guess the audience has dwindled on people that want to see that kind of stuff.
Another one I forgot to put on my list, which I was watching. Grand Hotel, 1 season, ABC, canceled. I'm upset because it ended on a really big cliffhanger by a main character being murdered, and now we're never gonna know who did it. That one was kind of
oh, hey, I just remembered this. Do you remember this show that you watched? Was it called The Bridge or something like that?
Yes, The Bridge.
Wasn't that canceled?
Yeah, it was canceled. That was canceled like 2000,
and it only had 1 season.
12. I don't want to. I think it had 2 seasons.
2 seasons? Did it end on a cliffhanger or was it just like done?
It ended on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, so that was another one.
Because that show was like, it was about the border.
Yeah, the border to Mexico, correct.
Yeah, they were killing people and
leaving them on the bridge.
Mexico and then leaving them over the line of the border to the United States, making a mess for the United States to clean up. But keeping the guys or the people that were doing it free from being prosecuted because they were in Mexico. Yeah, it was a crazy show. Yeah, me and your father got into it and then they just ended it. I was like, Next show, Harlots. 3 seasons, Hulu, canceled.
Harlots.
Yeah. I think I watched some of it. It was like what they call one of those houses where all the girls were and the guys would come and pay for them. A brothel. Yeah. That's what it was. Hell's Kitchen. Oh, I'm sorry. Wrong one.
What? Wait, Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay?
No, that's renewed.
I was gonna say they could never cancel Gordon Ramsay.
No. I meant to say
Gordon Ramsay would cancel them before they can cancel him.
Hell yeah! I meant to say High Fidelity.
Oh.
1 season on Hulu, canceled. Next one is Indebted.
In debt.
Indebted.
Oh, indebted.
1 season, NBC, canceled.
See, NBC is more often on there with 1 season canceled freaking shows.
Well, here's the thing.
Heck, NBC? That's why it makes me so nervous to watch Manifest being a show that's airing on NBC.
No, Indebted.
It's like
I don't even know how it made it on the air, to be honest with you. I loved, is her real name Fran Drescher? Yeah. I loved Fran Drescher on The Nanny. And that's it. I think that was all I can take. I love Fran Drescher. She was a great actress for The Nanny, but
they should put The Nanny on Netflix or something.
Indebted? It made no.
No.
It needed to be gone.
It was a no. Yeah. It's a no for me.
Yeah, it's a no. Next one, Insatiable.
Oh, that was that show that Alyssa Milano did with Debbie Ryan or something like that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a story. That's the show that's aired on Netflix. I believe Alyssa Milano and Debbie Ryan did it.
2 seasons. It's canceled, y'all.
It got a lot of hate.
Well, it
was a show about, because it's a show about, like, she was this really big girl, I guess, and then she lost all this weight and became like skinny and attractive, and then she was just getting revenge on people. I think that's what the show was about.
Okay.
A lot of people were giving that show a lot of hate.
I can see why. Not everyone who loses all the weight is getting revenge on nobody.
I think they had her in like a fat suit and all this stuff, and people were just saying it was so insulting.
It is insulting.
It's like, really, she had to
as
lose,
a big girl.
She had to lose weight to be confident and stand up for herself. What kind of message is that?
That message was sending out to people that
I didn't watch it.
You have to be thin to be beautiful.
I'm not
beautiful. Is any size, any shape.
Yeah, I can't say that. I didn't watch the show, so I don't know.
Now I'm gonna have to watch it just to see.
That's based off of the preview I watched, where she talks about being large and then being thin, and then a lot of the feedback that people were giving about the show and all the hate it was receiving, and she was getting a lot of backlash for it because, you know, she's somebody who's all about like women empowerment and this and that, and they're like, really? And then you're gonna make a show about a large woman being skinny, and then she has to be skinny to be attractive and get revenge on people. Like, what kind of? Yeah, I don't know.
Bad storyline, Alyssa Milano. If that was you in that show,
I think she produced the show. I think.
How can you stand for woman empowerment and create a show like that?
That's what people were saying. That's why it was getting so much hate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I'm glad that it's canceled then.
I don't know. I can't.
But it lasted 2 seasons.
Yeah, I can't speak for my not experience, but I can't speak from my opinion because I haven't actually watched the show. This is just what I've heard. This is the criticism it was receiving. This is what I have heard. And then just that I have seen the trailer. From the trailer, it was not something that I would have been intrigued to watch anyway. I was just like, one of those trash shows, so I just never watched it. Yeah. But I can't really say because I didn't actually watch the show to give an opinion.
Well, now I'm going to have to watch it to see what
I just know what other people
the uproar was about
have said. Yeah.
Next one is Katie Keene. 1 season, the CW, canceled. Never heard of that show anyway. Kids Say the Darndest Things. Season 1, ABC, canceled.
They're ABC and NBC with those 1 seasoners.
Yep. It was actually a pretty good show. It was, kids being themselves. It was
kids
funny.
Being kids.
Yeah. The next one, Kidding. 2 seasons, Showtime, canceled. Live PD. 4 seasons on A&E, canceled. That was pretty good. I don't know why they canceled it. It's like they're canceling all these live cop shows. Why? They're canceling all these live cop shows. Live PD.
Oh, live?
Yeah, it was live.
Oh, this is live.
It was kind of like the other one.
Cops.
Cops. It was kind of like Cops, but better. I liked it. I watched the 4 seasons. It was good. it actually did portray a lot of cops that I wish could teach those techniques to a lot of officers everywhere else.
This is when we were talking about how, you know, like they do
Yes.
all this unnecessary, like
Yes.
excessive force on like one person that's barely
Correct.
doing anything. And then they actually know how to like handle things in a proper manner. Like they don't use excessive, they don't use excessive force. They just use what's needed.
The cops that they followed on that show did not use, I don't know, their techniques were so good. Like it wasn't like 100 cops on top of one person. It was one person, and if it got out of hand, then it was just two. They weren't laying on somebody's neck. They weren't, you know, making it difficult for them to breathe. They calmed the situation, and I wish that they showed that technique to every other cop.
That's what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to be a de-escalator, not an escalator.
Exactly.
They do like the opposite. They like escalate situations to a point of it doesn't need to be escalated. It's like your job is supposed to de-escalate things.
Correct. Anyway, they canceled that show. Magicians, The Magicians, 5 seasons on Sci-Fi. It's canceled.
At least I had 5 seasons.
Yeah.
To me, anything like 5 seasons or more is like, I mean,
okay,
most shows only live
at least give it
for that long. See, sometimes there's a show that's like meant to initially only run 4 seasons, and they do, for example, Pretty Little Liars was meant to run, I think, maybe 4 seasons. It had an ending technically after 4 seasons, but because of how popular it was, they kept it going and then had to make all these other storylines that ended up being not as good as the original plot. And then it started to give a sour taste to people, and then it ended up on an ending that was like crazy. You could have gone without, you know?
Yeah, it was crazy.
So sometimes there's shows that just get so popular, and when they should have just ended it and let it have that nice perfect ending, and they just decide to expand on it and add more.
I kind of like the ending.
It has to be better.
It did end with Mona being Mona at the end in French.
It was somewhere. Like so back and forth though.
I know. Next one, Man with a Plan, 4 seasons, CBS, Miracle, canceled. Messiah, 1 season on Netflix, canceled. Next in Fashion, 1 season, Netflix, canceled.
What? A show about fashion canceled?
Yep. Next in Fashion.
Shocking.
Yep. October Faction, 1 season, Netflix, canceled. Outmatched, 1 season, Fox, canceled. Ozark, 4 season, Netflix, canceled.
But I feel like I've seen that show like a million times. I feel like it's always popping up in my recommended.
It is. It is always popping up.
What is that about? Is it a horror show?
No, it's actually not. Ozark is about a family that ended up doing like drug dealings and stuff like that.
Oh, that's not at all what I thought.
Yeah, no. Anyway, it is canceled, but they're ending the season with a final. So.
Oh, well, at least they're giving it an ending.
Yeah.
See, it's better to know ahead of time that it's going to be your last season, because then you can tie up all your loose ends of your storyline. Yeah. But when you have shows that are filming in the process and they don't know if they're going to be continuing or not, it's so hard because, you know, they have a story that they want to tell, but they don't know if they're coming back or not. And then by the time they find out they're not coming back, it's too late. The season's over.
Yep. Next one, Party of 5. I'm upset that this one is canceled. I don't know why they canceled it. It only did not 1 season. Views. It did 1 season. Oh, I'm pretty sure it had a lot of views. 1 season on Freeform, and then they cancel. And they cancel it with a cliffhanger, kind of. I don't know. But it was based on a Mexican family. The mother and father, after being here for like 20-something years, ended up being deported with a restaurant that they purchased, and they ended up being deported. Their kids had to stay because they were born here in the United States. The oldest brother had to take custody over them, and then he was like being watched every second from where I come from, Jersey. We call them DIFAS, or Children Protective Services, to make sure that his baby brother, who was not even a year old, now mind you, they ripped them away from a year old. They wouldn't let them take the baby. It was horrible. Anyway, it was a good storyline, and I was sad that to see it on the list of canceled shows. Next one, Patriot Act with Hasan Minhaj. 6 seasons on Netflix, canceled. Perfect Harmony, 1 season, NBC, canceled.
NBC again.
Ray Donovan, 7 seasons on Showtime, canceled. Wow, that's a long running show. Reef Break, 1 season, ABC, canceled. Thank God.
What?
Reef Break.
What's that? Reef break? Like reef like a coral reef?
R-E-E-F.
Like
break.
ocean?
Mm-hmm.
What the heck is that about?
A dumb show.
What is it about?
I don't know. Some lady who looked like, I don't know who the actor is. I don't want to offend anyone, but she looked like she belonged like on, it looked like she did some exotic movie. And then they gave her a show to do on ABC because her acting was so fake and phony. The storylines were horrible. They were trying to make her like this superhero cop thing, but I don't know. It was dumb. I wanted to gouge my eyes out when I watched like 2 episodes of it. I was trying to give it a chance. Reprisal, 1 season, Hulu, canceled. At first it started strong, but then I don't know where it was going. I'm glad it canceled. Run, 1 season, HBO, canceled. Dumb show. Schooled, 2 season, ABC, canceled. Sorry for Your Loss, 2 seasons on Facebook, canceled.
What? On Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Facebook has shows?
Yeah.
What?
Facebook Watch. Where you been, girl?
Oh my gosh.
There's like 2 shows I watch on there.
I think we have enough show platforms out there. Holy cow.
Well, Facebook is free. Facebook is free and they do their own shows with real actors and actresses.
Well, every show has real actors and actresses in it.
No, you know what I mean. Soundtrack, 1 season, Netflix, canceled. Spinning Out, 1 season, Netflix, canceled. Sunnyside, 1 season, NBC, canceled. Sweet Bitter, 2 seasons, Stars, canceled. Tell Me a Story, 2 seasons, CBS, All Access, canceled. Tommy, 1 season, CBS, canceled. I saw a lot of people writing about that one. They were upset. Turn Up Charlie, 1 season, Netflix, canceled. V-Wars, 1 season, Netflix, canceled. Veronica Mars, 4 season, Hulu, canceled. Vida, canceled, but they're doing a final show.
Those are all the canceled shows for 2020?
Those are all the canceled shows for 2020.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. Because a lot of them were good shows. A lot of them needed to be canceled, but a lot of them was good. Like, I'm glad Reef Break was canceled. Indebted, gone. In my book, they should have never made the air.
So that wraps up our top 11 list of shows that were canceled too soon. And then we went ahead and just decided to go over every show that's been canceled for 2020. So let us know, which show are you the most upset about being canceled, and what shows you think should come back and why. So thank you for listening. As always, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And we hope that you are staying safe, happy, and healthy, and manifesting everything that you desire out of life.
Amen.